Hey guys, welcome back to Leave Corporate. I'm actually in the midst of delivering clothes from my clothing store. Um, I've been pretty good about posting a lot these days. I had in the past I kind of slacked off on it, but now I'm making sure to keep up with my posts on it, so at least there won't be a whole week where I haven't posted anything. And so far so good, so I'm proud of myself for that. I kind of wanted to go over something, discuss something that had happened to me a little while ago, actually on my trip. I actually wasn't going to address it because I don't really like to dwell on negative things. When something negative happens, I just kind of want to move past it and move forward and just kind of, forget about it. But and thinking about it, and I've been seeing a lot of things that were kind of similar to the train of thought I had about it, and I said, you know what, it may be imperative, not imperative, but maybe like a good idea to address it, and kind of link it to the whole corporate culture that we have these days. So I had flown into London, and I was going to a wedding in Paris. So we were gonna stay in London for a few days and then take the train to Paris. So that was my first time going to Europe. So when I arrived at immigration, there was a really really long line. So I had my baby in my hands. I didn't have a stroller with me. So one of the persons working there, he decided to put me in a different line. He said, you're not really supposed to be in this line, but because you have the kid, I don't want you to wait in this long line to go through to this line. So I said, okay, thank you. So I went to the immigration officer, and very quickly I realized that he wanted to be difficult. The issue was that my daughter has a different last name than I do. I can't imagine that I'm the only person that has this situation. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is fairly common nowadays. But that being said, I understand. I put him on with her father. He spoke with him, indicated that he was okay with her traveling, that kind of thing. He still wanted to have an issue. He started to ask me all these questions, a bunch of questions. Meanwhile, the line that they had taken me away from was dwindling and new people were coming, so he kept me there literally for over an hour, right? Finally I found her birth paper, because I don't travel with her birth paper. I'm not going to do that, but I had sent it to myself some time ago. So I finally, because I was like, I must have it, because there were different things I was showing them. I was showing them that things that I may have sent to myself, like I had an insurance from when I claimed for her, and I showed them that. I showed them a bunch of different things. So when I finally found the birth paper, I'm like, okay, great, so I'm going to get out of this now. Showing the birth paper, and you could see in his face that he was not happy that I found it, and he still insisted on being difficult. So I had to kind of stop, and I kind of looked at him and I said, what is this really about? And a lot of people would have said to me, no, don't do that, you just kind of just try to be agreeable so you won't have any problems and that kind of thing. But I realized about myself, because in the past I've been a little soft and I've allowed things to happen. I've allowed people to treat me in a certain way in the past. That was a long time ago, and I don't know at what point I had made that decision, but I made a decision to myself that I'm not going to allow anybody to degrade me. So I asked him, what is this really about? And of course he started to give attitude and whatever, you have to answer my questions, blah 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 blah. So I said, you asked for this, I provided this to you. Everything you've asked for, I provided to you. What is the problem now? Why am I here? And I made it clear that I'm not going to take it. And not because I want to get in your country or whatever. And the funny thing is that he wasn't even British. He had a very strong accent. He wasn't even British. And I'm like, go figure. Because it's not surprising that he acted like that. And I made it clear. I was like, I'm not going to take being degraded, because some of the questions he was asking, it wasn't even relevant. Why are you asking me what type of credit card I have, Visa or MasterCard? Who asked that? That has nothing to do with the slice of bread. Nothing. And I mean, and at a point I was just like, you know what, let me speak to, what is your name? Oh, he's not going to give me his name or whatever. And I said, I want to speak to your supervisor. You will speak to them when I'm ready. And so back and forth. Eventually his supervisor came. I explained everything, and then they put me in they had me sit down for a little bit. They removed him, and then they put me back by someone else, and she was done with me in 2 minutes. So I bring that up to say that I realize that in the corporate culture there's a whole kind of undercurrent of, I'm just doing my job, I'm going to do my job. But in doing your job, does your job really tell you that you need to degrade somebody else, that you need to, toss people aside like if they're nothing, because you so have to do your job? What is really being told to you? Are you really being told that you need to treat other people less than you because you have a job, you hold some sort of power, because you could allow somebody in the country or not? Are we so drunk with power that we're doing things like that? And if it is that your job is asking you to do this, and they wouldn't ever ask you that overtly, it will always be subtly, then shouldn't we stand up? Should we stand up and say, no, I'm not going to do this? And I realize that, we're on that path that we've been on, that, I'm just doing my job. So dangerous and so sad that the messaging is now that you have to shirk all else in order to do your job. That should not be the message. That's not what your job is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a part of your life. It's not supposed to be your life. You're not supposed to be, I shouldn't say not supposed to be, but do you really want to be just a spectator in your life and allow life to happen to you? Or do you want to be the conductor of your own life? And I think it's a lot of people, they kind of struggle with that. There's some people who are okay with how things are, but the way corporate culture has been going, you're not even allowed to be a peaceful spectator anymore. They want you to be constantly ill at ease, constantly anxious, constantly uptight. I even had my old CEO say to us basically that you need to be anxious at work, which I thought was absolutely crazy. What is the messaging there? That you never have you never feel complacent, that you never feel, it's okay if they don't want you to feel complacent, but why should you constantly be anxious at work? Why should you constantly feel on edge and feel the need to degrade others in order to do your job? And I think that it's such a dangerous thing, but it's been happening a lot, and I don't know if people are realizing it, that they're completely changing who they are in order to do a job that you might lose anyway to somebody else. So I think it's very important that in everything that we evaluate ourselves, that we make sure that we maintain our humanity, and just know that you are more than your job. Don't just be a spectator. Be active in your own life. So until next time, guys, bye.